I just released a song called Glimmer Out. It's with my friend HTTP Honey. You can stream it on all platforms. You should go check it out. Here is a little beat breakdown because I thought I would show you guys kind of like behind the hood. I don't want to gatekeep my techniques. I've been sampling video games a lot, kind of because of the new Jane Remover album, and she sampled a lot of different games on it. Through experimenting with it, I found how much just sick sound design goes into games, and you can take advantage of that. One of the really good ways is there's a lot of like texture and like ambience and stuff that you can throw into your songs, and you can like process it differently and stuff. Most of the samples in here are from Portal 2. I downloaded like a file that just had all of the sound effects from Portal 2. And there's just so much good stuff in there. This is, I think, from like one of the Ratman dens. If you put it through a spectrogram, it like reveals like a hidden message. But yeah, it sounds like this. The sample itself definitely sounds very eerie and strained, but it's kind of extra strained because I ran it through an auto tune, which running auto tune on like non vocals sometimes gives you weird effects, and I kind of like doing that. I also just wanted to try to like force it into key, which like only half worked, but like that's good enough, honestly. We've got like some fire. Whatever this was is in the Portal soundtrack. I think it sounds kind of strange because it's been like time shifted. But yeah, really cool stuff. That is just such cool noise. Like it's so textured and layered and great. And I'm running it through some effects, mostly just like a delay and some distortion, but oh, it's just so like good. And like all of this stuff, you can read you can recycle into music. Like that's just such a good impact, and there's so much like foley and sound design that goes into this stuff. A lot of the drums here, other than like a clap layer, are just samples. Like I have like the CZ from Counter-Strike, like distant shot. um I've got the portal gun. This is probably the most like recognizable sample. Like if you were listening to the song, you might actually pick up on it. The rest is pretty buried and like layered in there, or just something that you might not recognize. But these are all like sounds of like clips, and you can get just like these super unique drums by doing this. Now it is layered with just like a normal clap. I don't want to push it too far in the direction of, just completely being Foley for the drums. So gotta have a little clap in there. Okay, this is super cool. It's this buzzer sound that you might recognize from the start of the game, and throughout. I think it's pretty iconic, but something really cool happens when you put a delay on it and then automate the delay time. You get this pitch shift. In this other part of the song, I have this section where the beat kind of cuts out for a little bit, and I just like used the snipping tool and just went straight through it. And it actually cut out this section of the automation, and you get like a completely different sound because of like the removed section of the automation clip. Super cool. I use the same effect also on this shriek. I have no idea where this is from. I think I found it literally by like clicking down here and just looking up shriek because I was like, I want something shrieky, and this was the only thing that I had. Oh, it appears that it's actually an FL Studio stock sound. Anyway, that's kind of cool. Just really cool stuff you can do with the delay automation. The 808 I designed in Serum 2. I've been loving Serum 2 so much. But using these sample oscillators, you can't have noise be tuned via the keyboard anymore. So I had to loaded up in here. I'm feeding this like really weird, phasey, strange impact that I have in like one of my like sample kits that I've made for myself, and the like default Serum noise through the distortion with the sine. And this is kind of like a theme for how this song was produced, but feeding high end and bass through distortion creates like this lovely grit, just like really good harmonics that you wouldn't otherwise get if you just distorted the bass or just distorted the noise. You got to push them through together. Anyway, this is a very basic 808. You know, I've got the like pitch envelope, volume envelope. All right, this is what all the textures and drums and stuff sound like. I forgot to mention there's the FL Studio Effects Scratch stock sound. If you know, you know. For the tonal elements, like I wanted to keep things very simple here, and not like add too many. A lot of times I go crazy with the layers, but I just kind of wanted like the drums and the ambience to sort of shine through and have just some very basic, very like catchy driving stuff. So this is just like an expand patch. I don't even think I really processed it. Very basic chord structure, another expand kind of lead. This here is actually kind of more sits in the mix as just like texture. When you layer this kind of stuff just in with your mix, it just really gives it that like unique, special quality. This is an incredibly basic sawtooth arpeggio. It's quite literally a default Serum patch with some unison, a very like quick envelope and the ARP turned on. And then there's like some like distortion, delay, dimension. Very just basic like layer. But I love the Serum 2 ARP. It's just so handy. This is probably my favorite tonal element of the whole song. It's another arpeggio that's layered in. There's a lot of really cool things going on here. So firstly, this was just a sine wave in Serum, and then right here you can click and drag and you can resample like the last few seconds of audio that came through your Serum. And then I put that sample back in via the spectral oscillator. And then I have the spectral mask, which the way I would describe that it sounds is like kind of like you're listening to something on like a radio and the connection isn't super like solid. Super cool. I love using this mask with the noise as the input. Also the spectral gate is really cool on sounds that have like a wide spectrum. Although this is just one solid tone, so the spectral gate doesn't really do anything. So all of this is being run through a wave shaper, a OTT. This is like a bougie OTT. It has a linear phase mode. I can get into that later. And then a balance and a limiter to kind of control the gain. And something really cool happens when you let that delay tail just get compressed and distorted. Listen to this. It's just so crunchy and gritty and like nice. A lot of times I will automate in this the wave shaper and the OTT like kind of after it's ended so that it's not being applied to the whole sound. But right now I liked how it sounded just on it straight up, you know, just compress and distort the whole thing. I want the dry part and the delay tail to kind of have like even gain, so that's what this balance automation is doing. All together though, everything sounds like this. And then as far as the vocal mixes go, um, I really like to abuse OTT for my vocals. So
I do anything just to simmer down.
I said I would get to it. Here is why I use this like paid like remake of OTT essentially. It has a linear phase option. And when you're using recorded audio, it's important that you have any multibands or EQs set to linear phase mode. Fruity Parametric EQ2's minimum phase mode, which is what it is by default, is particularly bad on vocals. I don't know how well YouTube audio will pick this up, but you should be able to hear a difference like when I swap between these two. With it turned off, it feels like it's been like squozing kind of into the nasal range, and that's because of the way that the EQ is creating phase rotations. Just listen.
I do anything just to simmer down. Worry keep me up and my glimmer out. City of sorry, I've been around. Lose a piece, lose a piece.
Now, it's not the most noticeable when it's just on one thing, but to me, I can definitely hear it. And when you layer vocals together, it'll especially sound bad because the EQs will be creating like very bad phase cancellations between the two. So make sure you have linear phase turned on if you have a multiband compressor or an equalizer on your vocals. And I've got these harmonies on the top end that's sung like an octave up.
Too many people saying that they miss me. They think I'm dead, see their eyes and it hits me.
I think it's important to keep your vocal chains very basic. I don't ever want to be doing too much, especially with my EQ. Like, this is honestly pretty dramatic for what I would normally have on an EQ. And kind of the reason is because of the SM58, just how it sounds when you push it through an OTT plugin like Cramit. I just have like a very specific tone that I'm going for. Speaking of which, it was very convenient to work with HTTP Honey because they use the exact same microphone. And so I basically just put all of his vocals like through the same stuff. The only like real difference is I was noticing that on his vocals, the delay was kind of taking up like crowding space in one of my ears. So I used this automation to pan the delay back and forth so that it would feel a little bit more balanced. Now, the final part about the mix here is I am running everything through this compressor. Shout out to Benny Apes for recommending me this free plugin. I recommend it to you as well. I just like how it sounds like just like in its initialized state. I was playing around with some like different configurations of like Wave Shaper and this, but this is just like such a good glue distortion. One thing that is kind of weird about it, you can see in my like mastering, it does make your waveform super asymmetrical. Um, don't panic about that. I was like kind of like worried. The problem with this is that it's going to create a lot of headroom on, one side of the polarity end. Don't worry about that because you're distorting it. The perceived loudness of your track is going to be high enough to be competitive if you just like compress it kind of normally. The lopsidedness definitely feels like it shouldn't be happening, but this is the harmonics being reflected in the final track. That's it for the track breakdown. Stream this song. It's on all platforms. I'll put the Apple Music and Spotify links in the description so you can check it out. Absolutely sick. Make sure you follow HTTP Honey. I'll link their Twitter in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Consider liking and subscribing. If you're a fan of me for Counter-Strike, yes, I'm gonna make Counter-Strike videos in the future. Yes, I am also really burnt out of the game and I don't really want to play it. But yeah, without further ado, here's a little snippet. Peace out. Thanks for listening and watching.
Bitch, we overseas, pouring up good, not a spread. Yeah, you can't see me off, cause that ain't right. Second vision, all these different color drugs. Had the plug across the street, so you see it when you're up. You ain't got a key, but she knows, bitch, push up. Eating beats on my neck, choke me off, how do you know?
I do anything just to simmer down. Or you keep me up and my glimmer out.